Today is Monday, September 28th, and it's a great day to be a sports fan because you're listening to the number one podcast in all of Potomac, Maryland, Chatter from the Cheap Seats. I'm your host, Jack Feldman, alongside my co-hosts, Sammy Krimstein and Ori Yachin. We're thrilled to be here. We are ecstatic because we're ready to bring you guys another banger. If you guys want to support us further, you guys can do that by leaving a voicemail at 202-743-1767, or you can click the call button in the link of our Instagram bio, which is chatter_cheapseatspod. Our TikTok is also chatter_cheapseatspod. Our YouTube is Chatter from the Cheap Seats. And if you guys can go to Apple Podcasts right now, while you're doing it, you guys can follow along with me. Go to Apple Podcast app. Everybody that has an Apple phone has it, unless you're weird like Ori and have an Android. Go to Chatter from the Cheap Seats, scroll down, click that 5-star button, and leave a review. You might say something like, I don't know, this is my favorite podcast ever. I listen to it all the time. I love Sammy. I love Jack.
Me too, yeah.
Ori gets on my nerves sometimes, but I love him anyway because that's what we are here. We're a family. Don't you guys agree with that? We are a family.
Yeah.
We are the we need a name to call like our supporters, you know?
I don't think that's necessary, but
I think that should be necessary. Now, boys, I have a very serious question to ask you. Like, might be the most serious topic that we have ever talked about on this show.
All right, let's hear it.
Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right, serious.
If you guys had 5 days to live, what 5 foods would you eat each day? You only get 5 meals for the rest of your life. Now, do you guys want to do this? You say your 5, Sammy, or you say your 5 and I say my 5, or should we go one at a time?
Oh, wow, this is a lot of pressure here.
I already know what I'm going to say, bro.
All right, you go first. I'm not as much of like a food person.
I'm very much a food person. I would, first of all, have some McDonald's, like a 40
yeah, me
nugget,
too.
a large fry, Sprite, and some honey mustard. Like, that's number 1. Yep. Number 2 would be the McGriddles from McDonald's. It's like a lot of McGriddles, right? And then number 3 would be a little bit more tough. I'd have to say...
Now, McDonald's? Or are you going to stick with the
I was thinking maybe McDonald's, but...
Ori, what are you going to do if they don't have a McDonald's in heaven?
Then it's not heaven. I'm sorry.
Then it's not heaven. That's a quote. We have to quote him on that.
Exactly. You can quote me on that. I'll stand by it. But, and then... Oof, I don't know. Probably sushi. Sushi, definitely. And then, so that's what? That's 3. The next one is just like a lot of fries, like McDonald's fries, obviously. Just like a lot, like enough to fill me big time.
Cheese fries, normal fries.
No, normal.
With
Normal,
ketchup?
no sauce,
With
just
ketchup?
McDonald's.
Just no ketchup, barbecue sauce.
No.
Bruh, McDonald's fries does not need sauce.
I got attacked there a little bit by Sammy.
You should feel attacked. You should not be putting ketchup.
No. I mean, yeah. Did you hear your number 1 yet? What's your number 1?
And then, well, I'm not doing them in order. I'm just saying. Fine.
Okay, just talk about it.
And then my last one, maybe just like unlimited almond joys.
I love almond joys also.
I love them.
That's fair. All right.
I love them.
Okay. Okay. I gotta go. There's this really good pizza place by me, and they're actually like temporarily closed right now. But I take that. It's called Giuseppe's. Really good. I'll take that. Oh God, McDonald's fries, absolutely. I mean, a guilty pleasure, I guess, but like maybe not even guilty because they're just so good. Oh goodness. I'd have to go just like pasta marinara, simple penne. You know, I'm a simple eater. Like I'm not very extravagant.
You're a picky eater, right?
I am. I'd say I guess I'm picky. Yeah, but I'm always simple. I'm not like, you know, I don't like too much stuff on my food. A good steak, and my dad makes the best burgers. I'll take those 2. So I think that's 5, but
if it's not 5, not a math pod, but
not a math pod. No.
Okay. I think that I have a very solid 5 here.
All right.
So in no particular order, I'd go number 1, sushi. Number 2, a really good steak. Like Wagyu, like Japanese Wagyu beef, like the best steak in the world. A great cut ribeye, like a good steak.
Yep. Yeah.
Number 3, I'd go some super fresh oysters. Sammy, I have a
Interesting.
feeling you've never had oysters before.
I've never had
You are
oysters. I'm not much of a seafood guy. I love
Ori, have you ever had
salmon.
oysters?
Of course, I've had like all the food in the entire world.
Yeah,
Oysters are great.
You dip some oysters in the sauce, suck it down.
Yep.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So that's 3. Number 4, I would have to have Chinese food. I would have to have, there's this place in New York that I like. It's called Chun Li, and they have a Peking duck. It's duck in these rolls. You dip it in this amazing duck sauce. It is incredible. Might be my favorite food currently. It switches from day to day. If you cannot tell, I do like to eat. But so that would be number 4. And number 5 would be, well, first I'm going to give an honorary mention. An honorary mention would be some really good Mexican food.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Oh, the chips.
So yes. So number 5 would be pizza, but like a good pizza place. Like anywhere in Maryland, there are no good pizza restaurants in Maryland, Sammy. I hate to break it to you.
You haven't had Giuseppe's, man. That's
Giuseppe,
good stuff.
I promise you.
I do not like
Go
Giuseppe.
to Brooklyn.
You don't like Giuseppe's?
Brooklyn.
I think it's good.
There's this place in Brooklyn. It's called Rinaldi's Pizza. Patsy's. Fantastic. And I would go there by far. Those are my top 5 to round it out. But anyway, we have a chock full of sports show for you guys. It is fantastic. And this is going to be coming out on a Tuesday. You might be hearing this on Monday. Might be a Tuesday. So we've already seen the NFL games and stuff. So we're going to give you, we made our NFL picks on Friday off camera, off pod.
Yeah.
So we're not cheating or anything. We're still doing that. So we'll give you the recap of those a little bit later. But we're going to start off in the NFL. We have some really good games this weekend. First off, we'll start off with Russell Wilson. In my opinion, second best fantasy quarterback in the league right now behind Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. Patrick Mahomes has been a bit of a disappointment fantasy-wise. Yeah. But anyway, Russell Wilson leads the Seahawks to a win over the Cowboys. How do you feel about them Cowboys, Sammy?
I wouldn't say I'm worried about the Cowboys because the Seahawks are a good team, and I was actually surprised to see how well they played against a good team like the Seahawks. I'm not worried with the Cowboys as much. The Seahawks, though, very well deserved 3-0. And Russell Wilson, you guys know how I feel about him. I think he is the best quarterback in the NFL, hands down. And when you look at what he does for his team, his leadership role, he really carries them. And that's exactly what he did the other day. He had 5 touchdowns, 130.7 QB rating, 315 yards. He is that offense. That does not work without Russell Wilson, and it does not work with any other quarterback. He is the reason the Seahawks are 3-0. He is the reason that they are going to be a successful team this year. I love Russell Wilson, and it came down to the wire a little bit towards the end, and I'll give credit to the Cowboys because they did give the Seahawks a good game. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson, loved the guy, and he really did the job for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on your take with Russell Wilson. I mean, I think he's one of, if not the best quarterback right now in the NFL. Definitely carries that Seahawks offense. I mean, it's nothing without him. You're right there. I want to go focus more a little bit on the Cowboys. We talk about how, this game did come down to the wire, and I kind of want to focus on Dak Prescott here. Jack, I wanted to get your take here. Were you impressed with the 472 yards and 3 touchdowns, or are you looking more disappointed because he threw 57 times and had 2 interceptions?
Well, we see these stat lines a lot in the NFL. Normally guys like Jameis Winston, they'll throw a ton of yards, but they'll also have 2 or 3 interceptions. And I think it tells you that it's not. I mean, he did throw for a ton of yards, so it's kind of interesting because, like you said, you can take it two ways, positive or negative. And I take it a little bit of both. I think that the fact that he throws for that many yards shows what he is capable of, but it also shows that there is room for improvement, and he does need to cut down those interceptions because this is twice now where the Cowboys have made big comebacks to almost win. They won against the Falcons, big comeback, and they almost won this game against the Seahawks. They were winning very late in the game.
Yep.
And I think it shows that's not good. Those wins are draining. And even though they didn't win this game, I mean, if I'm a Cowboy fan next week, I want to see the Cowboys get in control of the game early, and I want them to not give it up. I think they need the thing that Cowboys fans should be rooting for. They should not be rooting for a thriller. They should not be rooting for a good game. They should be rooting for a very matter-of-fact victory. And they're playing the Browns next week.
Yeah.
And I think that should be a matter-of-fact victory because I think the Cowboys are a much more talented team than the Browns. And I don't think any of us disagree with that.
Yeah.
Let's move on now to the next topic, which is sort of interlocked with the Cowboys a little bit because the Falcons choked against the Cowboys a couple weeks ago, and the Falcons choke again. What do you think about that, Ori?
I mean, let's talk about this Cowboys game first. I mean, it was incredible how they, were getting off to such a hot start, really dominating this Cowboys team. And then at the end, on that onside kick, they just forgot what the rules of the game were. Nobody jumped on the football, and they just gave the ball to the Cowboys, which, sucks because, special teams is you need to execute, and it could lose you games, and it lost the Falcons the game there. And I just think this organization choking against the Cowboys, I thought, they would come back, especially because they played so well in the next week. I thought they would win, get their momentum back, but they choked again, as you said, Jack.
Yep.
I don't know how they recover from this. I think Dan Quinn's going to be on the hot seat, if not already.
Dan Quinn is on the hot seat already, I guarantee.
Yeah, he was exactly. He was already on the hot seat, but when you have two of those heartbreaking losses, you have to put it on the coach at some point. And I think this is going to be Dan Quinn's last season as the Falcons head coach.
Yeah, well, the Falcons played the Bears. That's Bears. I'll focus on the Bears a little bit in a few minutes. But for the Falcons, it really comes down to coaching because Matt Ryan, I watched this whole game. Matt Ryan had a very good game. Todd Gurley, when they gave the ball to him, not too much, but he had a good game. The defense kept the Bears locked up for the most part. And I just don't get the play calling when you're up by 16 with in the fourth quarter. They're passing the ball so much. It's such a pass-heavy offense. And if you're in a close game, whatever, I understand. And, of course, you have Matt Ryan as your quarterback. He can do that. But he's not superhuman. He can't execute every play. And they're just not running the ball enough down the stretch. In Super Bowl 51, I think, or 50, I'm not the one where they blew the lead. We all know which one that is. That was the same issue they ran into. They were throwing the ball way too much down the stretch, and that kills a team. You can't control a game when you're throwing the ball. When you're throwing the ball a lot, it shows you're panicked. And Dan Quinn, like I said, is already on the hot seat. I would not be surprised if he's fired mid-season, especially if they have a few more of these, which would not blow my mind. I have a friend who's a Falcons fan. We actually had him on the show, Henry Joyner, and I feel bad for him, man. I was texting him. That's tough. But
now, do you think? I was just gonna hop in and say, do you think, the Falcons passing, even when they had control of the game, passing so much, do you think that's more the coach has a lot of faith in Matt Ryan, or he has almost no faith in this run game in Todd Gurley?
I don't think it's either. I think he has faith in Todd Gurley. I think he has faith in Matt Ryan. I don't know why they're passing, honestly. Because he's shown that in moments, in the red zone or, there are moments where he gives it to Todd Gurley, and even Hill, the other running back, got some good carries. He trusts the run game. I just think there's something we don't know. I don't think it's a matter of trust. I think it's just dumb. I just think he's not learning from his mistakes that he's made time and time again. And that's not the only reason they lost that game. I mean, the defense choked. There were some throws Ryan should have executed, but a lot of it does come down to Dan Quinn.
Did you want to talk about the Bears?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And man, as a Bears fan, these first 3 games, I can't do this again. You're talking about the Cowboys, how they need a game where they just kind of set for themselves. It's not a thriller. And the Bears, you could say the same. Week 1,
Yeah.
it's a fourth quarter comeback against the Lions. Week 2, it's a pretty comfortable lead at halftime. We almost blow it to the Giants. And there was an arguable pass interference thing that Jack, was probably thought was a pass interference at the very end of the game. And then the Falcons, we were down 16.
It was close.
We were down 16 with 7 minutes left. And we won all of those games. The Bears could very easily be 0-3. They could very easily be 1-2. People are saying that they don't deserve to be 3-0. And that's where I step in and I'm like, no. If you're 3-0, you earn those 3 wins. I don't care. And yes, there were some weird things that happened, but in each of those games, the Bears stepped up when they needed to. And the Falcons, you can kind of say the opposite for. Some people are saying, well, they're a good team. They're just not executing in the fourth quarter. Well, if you're not executing in the fourth quarter, you're not a good team. You can't win football games. And so it's kind of opposite situations for the Bears and the Falcons. And I also want to talk about Nick Foles, who, if you don't already know, came in the third quarter after Mitchell Trubisky threw a god-awful pick that was returned to the end zone. And Nick Foles came in and looked great. And the only thing he can't do that Trubisky does is he's not mobile. I'm not concerned about that, though, because he is able to take pressure. There were some throws where he's about to get sacked. If that's Mitchell Trubisky, that ball's getting thrown away. He's taking the sack. It's a fumble. Something horrible is going to happen. But Nick Foles is a man. He takes that throw, and that last play of the game to win the Bears the football game with like 2 minutes left, that was exactly what happened. He took a hit and threw it downfield and made this phenomenal throw. Trubisky struggles from deep. Foles did not, and he's going to be the starter next week against the Colts. I'm super excited to see what he's going to do because he looked a lot better than Trubisky did, and he's a lot of the reason we were able to somehow win that game against the Falcons. And look, the Bears can't do this to me again. If that happens to me again, I don't think I'm going to be able to take it. I might die next week. So this might be my last episode.
We'll check in on you after
please.
After next week, make sure you're okay. But let's.
We will keep you updated if Sammy is still alive.
Yeah, exactly. You guys will find out. But let's go on to some more football. We had Eagles-Bengals, and it ended in a tie. It was towards the end of the game, and the Eagles had a shot at a 61-yard field goal to win the game. And then it was in offsides, which made it a 64-yarder, something like that. And then they decided to punt it away instead of go for the extremely deep field goal. So deciding to basically take the tie. Jack, did you respect that decision? Did you agree with it? What did you think of that decision by Doug Peterson?
Well, if you're an Eagles fan, I don't think you like it because why do you want to see your team do that? And if you're a player, can you imagine if you're a player and you decide and your coach tells you to take the tie, you would be outraged. Yeah. And I think if you're an Eagles fan, it does make a little bit of sense based on the fact that if the Eagles did lose that game, it would be devastating and like.
I mean honestly, is a tie much better?
But
is a tie better than losing that game?
I don't think it's a good decision. I understand Peterson's logic, but I don't think it's good logic.
I mean, look, here's what I'm going to say. And I said it last week or last episode about his performance week 1. Carson Wentz has to be on the hot seat. I'm sorry. Going into the season, I was like, okay, I think he can be an elite quarterback this year. He has not
Everyone thought that. That wasn't just you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But he has not even shown a centimeter. I don't know how to say it, but he's not shown anything showing me that he's an elite quarterback. Last game, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And this is all I'm going to say. Jalen Hurts is on the bench, eager to play. Not yet, but if Carson Wentz keeps failing the Eagles, if worst comes to worst, that's going to be the best option. Jalen Hurts will perform better than Carson Wentz if Carson Wentz keeps playing like he has been.
For sure. And Jalen Hurts, it wasn't a slouch in college either.
No, he is like, Heisman sort of guy. I mean,
Do you think he will start a game this season?
Yes, I do.
I'd be a little hesitant. I think he should, but I think the Eagles coaching staff, Doug Peterson and the fan base really wants to see Carson Wentz succeed. And I feel like it would just look really bad to not put or leave Carson Wentz in there, excuse me. I think Hurts should go in. I just don't think they're going to have the guts and to do it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because this is the same team that chose Carson Wentz over Nick Foles after Nick Foles won you a Super Bowl. So I think that, they're definitely going to stick with Carson Wentz. He'd have to be really, really, really bad to put in Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see. You say Carson Wentz is on the hot seat. I would say the same thing about Doug Peterson. I mean, when's it time to say,
Doug Peterson did win a Super Bowl.
It's been a while.
But he won a Super Bowl. I think it's not that easy. It wasn't that long ago.
Look.
Not that easy to get rid of a coach that won you a ring.
There's undeniable talent on the Eagles. Undeniable. And they're one of the most talented teams. And they have been for the past few years. And the numbers and the wins have not shown that. And Carson Wentz has been
pretty... They should fire Peterson, Sammy?
I don't think they should yet, but if you finish with less than 9 wins, I don't think it's out of the question.
And also think about it, how easy this division is, and you're not dominating this division. Like, this team with this talent should be dominating this division.
It is.
I mean, come on. Right now, the Cowboys and the Redskins, Cowboys and the football team are in front of this division 1-2.
Yeah.
I mean, we may see our first 6-10 division leader.
Serious.
No cap. I'm
incredible. Sammy just said no cap. That means he's legit.
Yeah. Yeah, but let's move on now to the Bills. And we thought there for a second that they were going to be the new Falcons. We were all like, oh my God. They did blow technically a 28-3 lead. But in the final seconds, Josh Allen and the Bills pulled through and just squeaked past the Rams. Really fun game. What do you guys think about how the Bills played, how the Rams played, and these two teams going
Sammy,
forward?
Our Rams predictions aren't being that good, but I mean,
they're really good.
Really good team, man.
Mm-hmm. A great team, and
I wouldn't say great team.
I think they've been performing really well. They took a Bills team that's very, very talented, a team we think can easily win their division and make a deep run in the playoffs. So I would call them a great team. I feel like they've been playing, really, really good football. Made a nice comeback at the end. It wasn't enough, as Sammy said, but let's start with the Rams. At least I want to, and I want to focus on Darrell Henderson here. They were thinking about having multiple, running backs after they, lose Todd Gurley. But Darrell Henderson seems to be the man for the job. He had 20 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. I think that might cement this rookie as the starting running back for the season to come, unless he gets injured, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that could happen?
I think it could be a really scary 1-2 punch. I think Henderson's great, 20 carries, looking kind of like a workload sort of guy. But you also have Cam Akers, who Jack has talked about a lot, and Florida State guy, and you have two guys that can really come into games and make an impact.
And Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, 3 guys. I mean,
and Cam Akers is hurt right now, but he is no question the most talented running back on that team. I don't know if he'll get the majority of carries at the beginning because he is a rookie. However, I do think by the end of the season he will be handling the majority of the workload there. But let's move on now to the Vikings. Now,
Wah, wah, wah.
Ori, I know you have some very hot takes about the Vikings. So me and Sammy are going to sit back, relax. You guys do the same at home. Sit back, relax. Follow us on Instagram at chatter_cheapseatspod.
Always plug in.
Maybe leave a voicemail, 202-743-1767, 5-star review, whatever you want to do. Have a refreshing beverage in your hand. My glass is finished, but I was drinking some apple cider with a black and white cookie. Just get a blanket, sit down, relax, and enjoy Ori's football takes.
All right, so here we go. We're talking about the Vikings. We're talking about why are they 0-3, and are they in trouble? And I think that they are in trouble. This team is not that good, and I'll tell you why. So let's start with the offense. Led by Kirk Cousins. It's not being led very well. They're bottom 5 in passing yards, and in the bottom 5, that includes the Ravens and the Chiefs, who have only played 2 games, right? So bottom 5 in passing yards. They're tied for first in interceptions thrown. So not only are they not being very effective throwing the ball down the field and getting yardage, but they're also giving the ball away very, very often. And then they're also bottom 3 in completion percentage. So all these stats just show that this is one of, if not the worst passing offense right now in the league. And that's not great. Of course, they've been, this offense isn't completely garbage because they do have Dalvin Cook, who's been really, really good. But teams are going to start really focusing on stopping Dalvin Cook. And once they focus on that, will Kirk Cousins be able to beat the coverage? And that answer is no, because he's just not the same. Some concerns with him in the past are really coming to fruition now. So that's on the offensive side. Now let's go to the defense. Now the defense is not too pretty either. They're bottom 3 in passing yards allowed, bottom 5 in sacks, and they have allowed one of the most rushing yards in the whole league, top 6 for teams allowing rushing yards. So that means that they're allowing a lot of passing yards, a lot of rushing yards, and they're not getting to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's just not good stuff from the Vikings, offensively, defensively. This is why they're 0-3, and I don't see it getting too much better. They're in a division that is tough. We thought that they were going to be a pretty good team, contend for first place in that division, maybe even win it for some people, but I think it's really clear now that they are not that team anymore.
Hey, I will say, this is one of the picks. The Rams I got wrong. The Vikings may be one of the picks I got pretty good on. I had them going 7-9, worse than both you guys, and that's because I really feel like their defense is weak. Offensively, I think Kirk Cousins.
This was not one of my greatest takes here.
Kirk Cousins needs to be better, without a doubt. He's been horrible, but defensively is where I worry, because when this team is good, it's because that defense is good. Mike Zimmer is a defensive guy, and they have been struggling this year. It shows that without the talent, they're nothing. They lost a bunch of pieces, and they're losing a bunch of games. I am excited as a Bears fan that the Vikings aren't good, because it's one less tough opponent in the division. I'm hoping that they're going to keep doing bad, and I really think they will, because things aren't going to be getting easier. They're going to be playing the Texans, the Seahawks, 2 away games, and the Falcons, who, yes, have choked a few games, but I think that's a team that can really take advantage of some of the defensive mishaps that the Vikings have had.
I totally agree. Now, Jack, you want to say anything about the Vikings or move on to the final thing we have for NFL?
Let's keep it rolling now.
All right, so let me get your guys' takes. Who is or what is the most impressive NFL team so far through 3 games in the season?
All right, I'll go first, and I hate to say it, I really do. But the Green Bay Packers, you guys might have the same team as I do, have been really good. Like, I did not think they were going to be that good, and they have been. First, they play the Vikings, which we were just talking about. They blow them out. They blow out the Lions, and that's what you got to do. When you play teams that are not good, and you are a good football team, you're supposed to blow them out, and that's what they're doing. They're taking care of business, and then The game some people were worried about, because some people were saying, all right, this is where they're going to have to prove themselves, was last night, Sunday Night Football at the Superdome against the Saints. And they showed everybody that they are a top 5 NFL team. Aaron Rodgers looked phenomenal. Aaron Jones looked really good. The defense didn't look great, but good enough to win on that football game against a really good Saints team. And I'm excited. I can't say I'm excited because I hate the Packers more than any sports team, but they're going to be doing some really good things. And what I should say is that I'm afraid as a Bears fan for playing this team because they're a team that takes advantage of weaknesses. That's what they've done against all 3 opponents so far. And Aaron Rodgers looking really good.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You covered basically all bases. I just want to re-emphasize how good Aaron Rodgers.
You have the Packers too?
Yeah, I also have the Packers.
Okay.
I just want to re-emphasize how good Aaron Rodgers has been because people were kind of sleeping on him because they were like last year, the past few years, not insanely impressive, not Aaron Rodgers numbers that we're accustomed to, but he's been incredible. He's been lighting up the scoreboard, and Sammy, you mentioned something that's really, really interesting. It's when good teams really beat up on bad teams, and that really shows that you got what it takes. If you're a good team that barely scrapes by against bad teams, then how can you really call yourself elite?
But it also shows that they haven't had a true test yet.
They just played the Saints.
They just played.
No, I know, but I'm not talking about the Packers. I'm just talking about Ori's point of if you're a good team beating up on bad teams.
Well, that's part of the job of being a good team is being able to beat up on bad teams. I will agree some teams haven't had a test yet, but the Packers definitely have in the Saints. But going back to Aaron Rodgers, already 887 yards, 9 touchdowns, zero interceptions with a completion percentage of 67%. So he's been incredible. The Packers have been incredible. And he's done this with only, Devontae Adams, but Alan Lazard has really come on.
Devontae Adams didn't play against the Saints. Imagine if they play the Saints with Devontae Adams.
Right, exactly.
They're scary.
Exactly. Alan Lazard has been incredible. He really helped that offense against the Saints. But that's who I got for most impressive. I agree with you, Sammy. Jack, who you got?
Yeah.
So we've saved the best for last, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have the Seahawks as my most impressive team so far. I think Russell Wilson has been the second best quarterback in the NFL so far outside of Patrick Mahomes. I think that the injury to Chris Carson hurts them, but you got Carlos Hyde who rushed for 1,000 yards last season that can step right in. Yep. I think that
that acquisition means so much.
They have had true tests. The Patriots are a good team. Mm-hmm. They beat them. The Cowboys, a good team. They beat them. Falcons, not so much, but if you look at their games, the statistics within their games, how they're getting their wins done, they've scored over 35. They scored 35 points, 38 points, and 38 points. They're putting some points on the board. And it just goes to show you that never doubt Russell Wilson, never doubt Pete Carroll, never doubt their offense. And I think they're one of the teams. Sammy, you have them winning the Super Bowl, correct?
I do. I love the Seahawks.
I think that's going to be a fantastic pick. So now we're just going to quickly recap our NFL picks from that we did this game or this past weekend. So I had the Colts beating the 49, or no, I had the Colts beating the Jets. Yes, and the 49ers losing to the Giants. Obviously, 49ers-Giants did not go my way, but the Colts did beat the Jets. So I am going 1-1 this week. So now, Ori, you had the Colts beating the Jets also?
Yes, I did. They were my lock, and I got that
normally
right.
We don't. Yeah, normally we aren't doing the same team, but this week we made a exception.
Yeah. And then for my upset, which I also got correct, I picked the Packers over the Saints. Which
Yeah, Ori's
I
on
got
a
right.
roll.
I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
Every time I pick the Packers, I got them right.
But just remember, guys, it's not about who comes in first. It's about who comes in last, because I
Yeah.
am not wearing that Eagles hat. You don't want to wear that Packers hat, Sammy.
know,
And
and
I
I'm
don't
in
think
last.
Ori wants to wear. I don't think Ori wants to wear that Steelers hat.
I will not be wearing a Steelers.
I'm currently in last, and I had the 49ers beating the Giants as my lock, which went pretty well for me. And I had the football team beating the Browns. I thought that would be a closer game. Browns, surprisingly to me, took care of business. But yeah, the standings currently are, listen closely, everybody. Ori in first place, 5-1. Jack in second place, 4-2. And I am stuck in last at 3-3. But we're looking to make a comeback. Next week, we're going to be making our predictions on our next episode. I'm going to have great predictions, and I'm going to get right back on top. Believe me, it's going to happen.
All right. Well, we'll see if that happens. But before we end the football segment here, I just kind of want to get game prediction for tonight. It's Monday Night Football. Chiefs, Ravens. Who you got? What's the score?
Oh, wow. Ravens. Ravens are going to win. Patrick Mahomes has not looked himself, and if he does, Ravens have no chance. But I think the Ravens have a better ground attack for sure, a better defense for sure. Ravens should take care of business, I think. But if Patrick Mahomes is playing like his MVP self, it could be a little scary for the Ravens. I think the Ravens will go 3-0, though, against the Chiefs.
All right, Jack.
Yeah, so I have the Ravens also. If you look at how the Ravens' first two games have went, they handled both the Browns and the Texans pretty handily. They beat the Browns 38-6, and they beat the Texans 33-16. The Chiefs beat the Texans 34-20, but they beat the Chargers 23-20. And the Chiefs are supposed to be a much better team than the Chargers.
Yep.
And there's not much to base it off this early in the season. But, we're just doing what we can. And let's move on now. Oh, I almost forgot Ori's prediction. I will be shocked if you don't have the Ravens winning.
I do have the Ravens, but I want to add a little bit of a hot take here. Ravens will win by more than 20 points.
Wow.
That could happen. I would not be surprised.
I really believe, this Ravens defense, we're going to lock them up, and this offense is too good. That's just my take. But, Jack, go ahead. Move on.
Let's move on now to some baseball. So let's start off now revisiting our standings, predictions,
season
and then
ended.
afterwards we're going to get into our playoff preview. The season ended. It's crazy. Playoffs start tomorrow. I am so excited. Sammy is so excited. Ori is excited, but his team isn't in the playoffs because they suck. Sammy, why don't you give us a rundown on how our predictions went?
Yeah, well, before we get started on that, I just want to say we did not know if this season was going to finish. There was a doubt that it was even going to start, excuse me. But I'm going to give credit where credit is due. MLB did a great job handling the situation because it was not easy. I mean, we all remember there were a lot of hiccups in that first month. But that second month, September, the late part of August, things were really smooth. And they finished the regular season, looking to finish the postseason, and we might be taking it for granted now, but there was a point where we did not know that was going to happen, and we should be thankful and really see how good of a job the MLB did. But we are finished with the regular season, and we did our predictions a while ago before the season started, and now it's time to revisit them. And you guys can't see, but I made a little spreadsheet, and I just kind of evaluating how our predictions went. And the closest or the best predictions are going to be given to Jack, who had 13 closest.
What can I say? I'm a baseball
savant.
savant. What else can I say?
Yeah, so Jack had
genius.
13.
I am a genius.
Jack had 13 predictions closer than everybody else. And he was just on an average 5.6 wins away from the correct prediction. Really good job, Jack. I was just a bit behind, 5.7 wins away from the correct prediction. Ori was at 6.1 wins away. And just to give you guys an idea, all of us together, 5.8. So it's pretty close here. And the team we're farthest away from predicting, could you guys just give a guess?
That was the Reds, right?
The Marlins.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Reds.
We're off on a couple of teams.
Yeah, let's see. The Reds, we were 8 games off. Not too bad. The Marlins, we were 17 games off on average.
Slept on them.
We really slept on them. Some other teams that we didn't do so good on, the Nationals, we were 10 games off. The Yankees, we were 9 games off. Can't really blame it on them, though. The A's, the Astros. I was a little confused there. The Astros, we all thought they were going to be good. They were not. 10 games off. And then the Diamondbacks, which is really one of the biggest surprises to me. I still don't really see how they were that bad. We were 10 games off on the D-backs. Some interesting stuff, and we all did a pretty good job with our predictions, I will say. And last little point. So I want you guys to guess, actually. How many predictions do you think we got right on the ball? It's like we predicted the exact amount of wins for a team.
4.
3 times.
3?
3 times it happened. I thought it was going to be much more. I correctly predicted the Brewers. Ori correctly predicted the Cubs. And Ori also got the Indians. So
Hey, I got 2 perfect.
Yeah.
Did I get anyone?
Jack did not get anyone right in.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not that guy that'll go out there and give you one 500-game passing performance and then throw 3 interceptions the rest of the games. I am that guy. I'm going to give you consistent performances. I'm not going to hit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have 4 home run games. I'm not going to have 7 for 7 games. I'm going to be that guy
7 at bats,
consistently 2 for 4, 1 for 4, driving in knocks. You don't think of me, and then at the end of the season you say, oh, wait, he batted 400.
Yeah, and
that is who I am.
It's super cool because I've never really evaluated my predictions like this before, and I'm sure for you guys too. And it's cool to be able to see, like, oh, that's how we did. Oh, those are the teams we're off on. And so that was our reevaluation.
And I just got to give Sammy some credit here. He really did a lot of work.
That was
on
a great spreadsheet.
He did a great job. He made a whole
spreadsheets are fun, man.
So let's move on now to our playoff prediction. So, Ori, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, all right. So I'll name the series. You guys name the winners. If you guys want to talk a little bit more in depth about a team, if not, we'll move on. So for the first series, we got Tampa Bay against the Toronto Blue Jays.
All right, want to do like a count?
Yeah, let's just go one by one. It'll be
All
a
right.
little confusing.
All right, I got the Rays. I mean,
I don't think we have to go very in-depth here. I have the Rays also.
yeah, I mean, the Rays have
We got the Rays.
The Blue Jays starting pitching isn't good enough to compete.
Yeah, and the hitters, I think, are just going to be fooled by the pitching.
No, I mean the Blue Jays lineup is legit.
It's good, but
It's
young.
legit. It's better than
young.
some other teams in the playoffs.
Oh, it is. I just think the youth
Yeah.
could come to harm them here in the postseason, inexperienced. The Rays are just a much better team. I don't think there should be too many questions
No, there's not.
about that
There's
series.
not. Let's move on here.
All right, let's go. Now we got the Indians versus the New York Yankees. Sammy, who you got?
I got the Yankees. The Yankees are the better team, and I'll let Jack take the bulk on this one because
I think
Jack's biased about the Yankees.
I think the Yankees have a top 3 lineup in all of baseball. I think in a 3-game series, you have Garrett Cole, who's a top 5 pitcher in all of baseball.
Yep.
Masahiro Tanaka, who is literally the greatest postseason pitcher of all time. He has a 1.73 ERA in the postseason. He is the greatest postseason pitcher of all time. That's crazy. And then you got your choices after that. Probably you're going to go with J.A. Happ, who is a guy who, in his career, he hasn't been great for the Yankees. He's had a pretty solid career. He has a career 3.98 ERA, which is pretty solid. But this season, he had a 3.47 ERA, and he got blown up early in his first 2-3 games of the season. And after that, he's been dominant. But I don't think they're going to get to that. I think Shane Bieber is fantastic. I think Bieber Cole is going to be an incredible game. However, Shane Bieber has been awful against the Yankees in his career. He's had one start against them. He went 1 inning, five runs in his career.
I mean,
He's also.
That's
I
one
know
game.
it's not. I know it's only one
it's
game.
one game. I mean,
But what can you? But that's things that pitchers think about in the postseason. They think about who they've played. They think about their history against that team. And I know it's only one game. And Shane Bieber is the guy. He's never played in a playoff game. He's never pitched in a playoff game in his entire career, and that's gonna haunt him. And I mean, he's 25. I think that's a huge deal. That's a huge factor that he's never won a playoff game in his career.
I do think that's a huge factor, but if there's a game that the Indians win in this 3-game series, it is going to be that one. Because Shane Bieber, yes, he hasn't played in the postseason.
But you forget.
But look at how he's been. Look at how nasty his stuff
But
is.
normally when the Indians play, they say, when they have Shane Bieber on the mound, they think to themselves, I have an advantage over the other team. They don't have that because the Yankees have Garrett Cole on the mound. And Garrett Cole...
Bieber is better than Cole this year.
No,
Bieber's been better than Cole.
Yeah, maybe in 10 games. But Bieber isn't facing Cole directly. They're facing... Bieber is facing the Yankees lineup, and Cole is facing the Indians lineup. The Yankees lineup is one of the best in baseball. The Indians lineup is one of the worst in baseball. They have one hitter on their team. One hitter on their entire team that has an OPS over 800. That is beyond bad. That is atrocious.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'll take this one here. I have the Indians winning. They're gonna sweep them, and this is why. I just think with Bieber, it's going to be a dub. I think that, Jack, you have a good point. He's never played in a playoff game. But if there is a season where it's going to be easier to pitch in the playoffs, it is this season with no fans. I don't think there's going to be that much heightened pressure. Of course, there's going to be pressure, but it's not going to be like it usually is.
I think there's going to be.
There's going to be more pressure, I agree. But I don't think it's going to be as much as there usually is when it comes playoff time. So I think they win game 1, and I just think they're going to scrap away 2 dubs here. They're going to beat the Yankees, but let's move on. We got the Twins. We got the Houston Astros, who have been pretty bad. Pretty bad. So we'll start with Sammy. Who you got?
I mean, I hope that we all have the Twins. I don't think there's any way the Astros win this series. I'm sorry. Their pitching has not been good enough. You don't really have an ace. And their offense has been abysmal. Altuve, who, for reasons that we know, was good these past few years. This year, he was horrible. He was really bad. And there haven't been that many bats that have been really good. Michael Brantley has been. Besides that, there's not too much going on for the Astros. Not enough to overpower how good the Twins are and have been.
Yep, I agree. I also have the Twins winning. Jack, you agree with us here?
Yeah, I had the Twins winning, but I think it's going to be closer than you think because I think the Astros have been there, done that, and I think they could turn some heads in the postseason.
Maybe also bang some trash cans.
Maybe we'll see. It'll be a little bit easier to hear, so they might not get away with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no banging. Okay. We'll
go to the final series here. In the final series in the AL, A's White Sox. Sammy, who you got?
This one was tough for me. Definitely the toughest in the AL. I took the White Sox, and I know I said last episode that the A's are a team that can make a run. I've been doing some thinking, and I still think they can. But the White Sox are a good team. My only concern with them is that they ended the season pretty cold. They played a Cubs team that just really jumped on them those last 3 games of the season. But I think you have Giolito, you have Dallas Keuchel. The pitching in a 3-game series, I'm not worried about. The offense got a little cold, but, I mean, you have Jose Abreu, Luis Robert, his first postseason should be super exciting. Yohan Makata, Tim Anderson. We talked about the White Sox a lot on this show, but I don't think there's any reason that they're going to be losing to the A's. The A's are a good team, but I don't think they have the starting pitching in 3 games.
Sammy, I disagree with you on this one.
Wow, we kind of swapped sides.
Yeah, we did. I think that the White Sox, I trusted them, but they fell from the 1 seed or their first place to third. They've been ice cold lately, ice cold, and it is not a good sign for them. There are a lot of young guys. I don't know if you can really trust them. The A's have one of the best bullpens in baseball, which I think will help a lot in the postseason. They have Jesus Luzardo, who's going to be pretty good. Sean Manaea is going to be pretty good. Frankie Montas had
has been insane.
14 strikeouts. You can have someone like Mike Minor come out of the pen. I think that they can handle the White Sox pretty easily. I think this game will go to 3, but I think that they're going to win this series.
I mean, that's fair. It was tough. My argument for the White Sox is that their pitching
I think this is
good
a
to
flip
shut
of a
down the
coin
A's.
matchup.
I really do.
Flip of a coin matchup.
What? Yeah, you could say that. All right, NL, Ori.
Well, let me just say.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Sammy's trying to step on my show, my shoes this show. But I got the White Sox as well. I agree with you there, Sammy. But it's gonna be a toss-up. It's gonna be a 3-game set. It's gonna be a tough one. Whoever wins, I wouldn't put it past. I don't think this is gonna be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. But let's move on to the NL, starting with the Dodgers versus the Brewers. I think we all have the Dodgers here, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely, the Brewers.
Do we even have to talk about this?
I just want to say a few things about. I hate the Brewers, and I love trashing them. Brandon Woodruff, I love, but besides that, starting pitching wise, who do they even have? There's a lot of injuries that they've had. Corbin Burns, who's been kind of a sneaky Cy Young candidate, is not going to play the first round. And that was kind of their only hope, I think. Getting 2 good starts from Burns and Woodruff, and then maybe stealing 2 games. That would be their only hope for this wild card. They don't even have that anymore. After Woodruff now, no good starting pitching. And yes, their bullpen's been great, but you can't rely on your bullpen for 2 games to get you 6+ innings. 'Cause I think that's what it's going to come down to with the Dodgers, who are just insane. And maybe that's what I should be focusing on, but I think the Brewers would lose to any team in this playoff. And
would you say they're
the
the worst playoff team?
Yes, absolutely. They barely got in. I think the Phillies and Giants, 2 teams that missed out, are both better ball clubs than the Brewers.
All right.
The Phillies, all they had to do was not get swept, and they got swept.
They got swept. They choked. Atlanta Falcons level.
Yeah, what's next, Ori?
All right, next up, we got the Padres. If not one of the most exciting teams coming into this postseason versus the Cardinals, who have been slightly underwhelming. So, Sammy, who do you got?
Well, I am going to be happy again to say that I'm going to take down another NL Central team. The Cardinals are going down because the Padres are crazy good. Dinelson Lamet has been pitching out of his mind. His second half, he's now a legit Cy Young candidate. Probably not going to win it, but I'd say he's top 3, maybe if not top 5. And then you got Mike Clevenger, who's had an ERA just above 3. Really good stuff. And this offense, are you kidding? Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Eric Hosmer, and you got probable Rookie of the Year, Cronenworth, or I think that's how you say his name. The Padres are a seriously good team that can turn some serious heads in the playoffs.
For real. And I think that this is another one that it's kind of just check it off. We don't have to talk much about because they are a much better team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Their starting pitching is good. Their lineup is good.
Well, and the Cardinals offensively have struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Goldschmidt's been by far their best player, and he's been good. Besides that, not too much going on.
I see some upsets in the first round just because if you win the first game, that is such a huge advantage. And if Flaherty goes out there and pitches a gem,
that's true.
Huge.
Which he can. He's been underwhelming. But if he pitches a gem, which he can do, it could really turn the tide.
It's only 3 games. The Dodgers could get swept. We don't know. It's 3 games. And that's what's so crazy about this season. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
I also agree with you guys here. I got the Padres. I think this offense is going to be too much. The pitching is going to be good enough to where the Cardinals aren't going to score too many runs, and the Padres are going to win. But as you said, Jack, all these series, because they're only 3 games, could go either way. Even if
Yep.
one team is substantially better than the other, which makes
Absolutely.
it really, really exciting this season. But we'll go on here. We got the Cubs versus the most surprising team to make the playoffs, the Marlins, the team we got wrong
By 17 games.
by 17 games. So Marlins, Cubs. Sammy, you want to – I mean, I know you got the Cubs, so tell us why.
Cubs are a serious threat in the NL, and offensively has not been pretty. But they managed to win games this season with a bad offense. And I think they're going to be better in the postseason because you have guys who have been there before. And Chris Bryant, who is seriously heating up, starting to look like his old self past few games. And then pitching is really where the Cubs are strong. At the beginning of the season, I would have said, whoa, are you crazy? The Cubs are not a strong pitching team. But they made a case, and they are seriously a top 5 pitching team in baseball. Yu Darvish, Kyle Hendricks, John Lester. Lester has been a lot underwhelming, but his last few starts have been good. And he is a guy who has been in the playoffs numerous times and is one of the most experienced playoff pitchers ever. Darvish is going to get it done. Hendricks is going to get it done. 3 games. I don't see a way the Cubs lose the series. I'm sorry.
Ori, how many more matchups do we have in the NL?
In the NL, we have one more after this Cubs.
Okay, so let's do this matchup, and then I have shocking breaking news. I wouldn't say shocking, but it's big breaking news.
All right.
Better
So
be
let's
good.
do this kind of fast. I do not have the Cubs. I have the Marlins, and I'll tell you why here. I think that this Cubs offense is just going to be too slow because where the Marlins really struggle is pitching, but I think the Cubs are kind of going to bail them out. I don't think this offense is going to be able to punish this Marlins pitching, and this Marlins hitting is going to be good enough. It's going to be a close series. I think that either team can win it, and I wouldn't be really surprised. But I'm willing to put my bet. I'm riding this Marlins train all the way past the Cubs.
Come on, dude. I mean, the Cubs' last series was incredible.
I think Ori should be banned from making any more predictions.
Hey, I have the Yankees losing and the Cubs losing. Those are the only time. You guys have agreed every single time. I'm the only one disagreeing here. I'm going off the beaten path.
Both of those are wrong.
I'll stop myself from talking. I'm just going to get too angry. Cubs are taking that series in 2.
All right, final. Do you want to say the breaking news, Jack?
I just saw it too. Jack can take. Wow, I'm surprised.
Wait until after the final. It's a little bit of a teaser here.
Okay. All right, so we got our final. We got the Atlanta Braves versus the Reds. Another team that we got really, really wrong, the Reds. We were all very, very high on them. I'm still high on them personally. I still think they're going to win the World Series, just like I said before the season started. They're going to win this series, obviously. But this Braves team is incredible. I think the reason the Reds win is because this pitching staff for the Reds is insane. And if anyone can hold the Braves lineup in check, it is the Reds pitching. And I think they'll do it, and that's why I have them winning. I think you guys are going to defer from me here, but let's hear what you guys got.
I have the Braves here, and this is another exciting series because the Reds are a team that going into September, we're in 4th place or something, and out looking in on the playoff spot, they got in as a 7 seed, and the Braves are still the better team here. You look at offensively, and I know the Reds are great pitching-wise, and I do think they're going to win the game Bauer versus Fried. But after that, I think the Braves are going to mash the Reds. Gray and Castillo have been good, but this Braves lineup has been better. You have 2 guys with 1,000-plus OPSs, and you have Ronald Acuna, 987, Freeman, Ozuna, Swanson's been good. Ozzy Albies has been a little underwhelming, but still really good. This Braves lineup is one I don't want to face, even if I'm the Reds with a great pitching staff. It definitely could go either way. I also want to say the Reds offense does not impress me. They were very underwhelming, and the Braves have good enough pitching to shut it down. I think this could go a multitude of ways, but I have the Braves winning this series.
I have the Braves winning this series also. I think that what's the Bill Parcells quote? You are what your record says you are. And you can give me all this crap about how the Reds are a much better team than their record and that their starting pitching is very good. They haven't been good this season. They've been a bad baseball team this season, and there's no injuries. There are other teams that have bad records, but they've had injuries, coronavirus, that stuff. Those are excuses. The Reds have no excuse. I mean, they have had a little bit of coronavirus outbreak, but they haven't had anyone miss significant time. That's been a big part of their season. I think you are what your record says you are, and the Reds' record says that they are not a good team. I have the Braves winning the series. But let's move on now.
Breaking news.
Now, Sammy has seen this, but Ori, I don't think you have.
I have not. I have no idea.
Oh, man.
Adrian Wojnarowski report.
What? Woj. I can't talk.
Is it a Woj bomb?
The Woj. I don't know.
Coach Doc Rivers is out with the Clippers. Sources tell ESPN.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Man. Whoa. This so our listeners and viewers know, this broke as we were recording. I
didn't even know this happened.
This is crazy.
Wow.
I think it's the wrong move. I think that is a huge mistake. The Clippers were so good during the regular season. Doc Rivers is such a big part of that. They did choke, but that's not on Doc Rivers. Football, you can say it's on the coach much more than any other sport. Baseball, especially basketball, it's on the players more so. Doc Rivers, it is not his fault. I'm sorry. It's Paul George's fault. It's Kawhi's fault for getting 9 points in Game 7. It's not Doc Rivers' fault. Why are they firing him? That sends a message that you're giving up on this team almost. I don't know. I just think it sends the wrong message. It's a bad move, and I'm shocked by it, to be honest.
It's a lot this episode, but I have to agree with you. I don't think they should have fired Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers cannot get Kawhi Leonard to put the ball in the hoop. Doc Rivers cannot get Paul George to
exactly
terrible in the playoffs. He can, and I think it's the wrong move. I think Doc Rivers is a known entity as a good head coach in the NBA. A team will snap him up like that, and it's just going to be interesting to see how fast he gets hired because I think he's going to.
I'm a Bulls fan, and we just got Billy Donovan signed him, and I love Billy Donovan. Don't get me wrong, from the Thunder, but if this would have happened a little bit earlier, you got to wonder, did the Bulls jump on that opportunity? And there are a bunch of teams looking for head coaches, or your 76ers are.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, you got to be hyped about this.
To be honest, I can't be happier. I mean, Doc Rivers is an incredible coach. I agree with both of you here. I do not think he should have been fired. You know, if they had this team last year and they lost in the playoffs, and then they lose again this year in the playoffs, maybe.
I mean, I'm sorry. His game plans worked all year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Cannot blame him for Paul George and Kawhi choking like the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I totally
can't.
I totally agree here with you guys. And if he goes to the Sixers, man, I'm hype. I mean, I would be really, really happy with Doc Rivers. An incredible coach. Yeah. I really can't believe he got fired. That's really, really surprising to me. It broke just as we were recording, so good timing, I guess.
But yeah, now I guess we could go on. We're already on basketball. We could kind of talk about the NBA Finals because we are here. The bubble, no year like this before, but the NBA Finals are here. The Lakers and the Heat. The Lakers, we all kind of saw coming. It was either really going to be them or Doc Rivers' Clippers. And then you got the Heat, who are definitely the story of the NBA playoffs.
Everything is falling into place for LeBron. He's literally, it's like God is parting the Red Sea for LeBron.
But see, I disagree. The Heat are a better team, I believe, than the Lakers are. That is a hot take.
Whoa.
But they, especially in these playoffs, they're deeper, they're more talented, they're younger, they're more explosive, they're good defensively. That's why they've been beating up on good teams. The Celtics are no schlubs. The Bucks are no schlubs.
I am
They
willing.
beat up on good teams.
I am willing to make a bold prediction here, and it's
All
not
right.
the bold prediction you think. If LeBron wins his 4th ring, I am going to have to seriously reconsider the GOAT debate.
Oh,
I think that is not a bold prediction. I don't think that's bold. I think that's just
I'm not saying
fair.
I'm saying it's bold for me. Like
I think that's fair. I'm not doing that though.
I think winning,
His only argument is the championship. So once he gets there,
and I think 4. I'm not saying I think LeBron will be better, but I'm saying I will have to think about it. If he wins 5, I don't think it's a question anymore. But here's what I think is going to happen in the series. I'm going to lay it down very clearly on what's going to happen. The Heat are going to win Game 1. Everyone's going to freak out, right? Everyone's going to be saying, the Heat are going to sweep. The Heat are going to sweep. LeBron is old. LeBron is washed. And then the Lakers are going to come back and win the next 4, and they're going to win in 5.
Yeah, I mean, and this series could go both ways, but I am going to have to go with the Heat. I am riding the Heat wave, and I have no shame about it because Jimmy Butler has been insane. Tyler Hero had like 37 points in game 3, I think, game 4. And let me just make a point. Not quite related, but related. Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Anthony Davis, 3 of the best players in this series. And you also have on the Nuggets, who just got eliminated, Jamal Murray. A lot of Kentucky products. I am a Kentucky fan. And it just goes to show you that that is the best college basketball program there is. Back to the series, though. just wanted to add that in there. But the Heat are a really good team. I mean, Bam Adebayo is going to get you probably like 15 rebounds per game almost in the finals, I'm sure. Jimmy Butler is clutch. Tyler Hero is one of the best young players in the game of basketball. I think they can honestly, don't want to say overpower, but I think they're deeper than the Lakers are, and I think that's why they can win. I think they have a lot of guys coming off the bench that'll be good, like Jay Crowder. And Andre Iguodala too has been making a little bit of an impact.
My favorite
He's
basketball player.
What, 6 straight finals appearance or something?
Yeah. He's
been
on good teams, but I kind of want to say why I think the Lakers will win. And it's a very simple argument. You can say that the Heat have more overall talent. Maybe that's true. You could say that they have more depth. Okay. But who is the best player in this series? LeBron. Who is the second best player in this series? Anthony Davis. That is why the Lakers are going to win. The top 2 players are both on this Lakers team. This top-heavy, insanely talented squad. I mean, there is no argument about it that LeBron and Anthony Davis are the most talented players on the floor at all times.
Yeah, well,
and I don't think you could say that Bam Adebayo is anywhere near Anthony Davis.
No.
And you can't say any player on the Heat is better than LeBron. So
yeah, I mean that's a non-arguable point. LeBron and AD are, no matter who they're playing, going to be the best 2 players on the court.
Correct.
Unless maybe they're playing like the Bucks with Giannis or whatever. But the Heat are just a good team. And I think however the series goes, it's going to mean a lot for basketball going forward. Because these past few years, past 5 to 10 years, we've seen a decade dominated by super teams. The Heat in the beginning part of the decade, the Warriors, the Cavaliers, and the Heat are not one of those teams. The Lakers are.
I think
whoever wins the series, teams will look at that and model their teams after. If the Heat win, teams are going to start maybe developing more balanced teams, deeper teams. But if the Lakers win, I think we're going to see a continuation of pursuit of superstars like a lot of teams have been doing for the past 5-10 years. I think this is a critical series for the future of basketball. Would you guys agree? Do you think that's a good point?
I don't think teams are going to change their entire plan for the future off of one series. I think that teams are always going to try to go out and get the best player available in free agency. I think superstars are always going to be sought after, and I don't think anything can change that. However, I think it is very refreshing to see a team like the Heat in the finals.
I agree.
I think it's very good for basketball because basketball has gotten so repetitive and so boring and it's nice to take a break. But let's move on now to the most exciting segment out of every podcast in America. This is the best, and it's a full claim. And you know who makes it the best? Me. No, I'm kidding. Ori. Here he is, folks, to give his OAPOTD. Ori's Amazon Prime.
I was like, what are you spelling?
I did not know you knew how to
What
spell
are you
that, Jack.
spelling?
Wow.
Give me some. I have to think about it in my head.
Bullis education. There you go. But if you guys didn't know, I went on a 3-day hike. That was kind of why we had some miscommunication. That's why we're coming out with a podcast a little bit later than usual.
Those of you that don't know, that aren't OGs, this is Ori Yachin. He is the third co-host on our podcast.
But so I did go on a 3-day hike, and on one of the days, we had no water. We had to drink from a creek, right?
Oh.
How are you going to drink water out of a creek that has whatever is in a creek? Well, you use this product, and it was legitimately a lifesaver because we did not have any water. We would not have been able to drink. We would really had to quit the trip.
Could Ori have died this weekend?
I could have died this weekend, boys, but this product saved my life. It seriously did, and it's called the Life Straw.
Experiences this week: Ori with the water and Sammy with the Bears.
Yeah, it's true.
There you go. So it's called the Life Straw. Now, what is the Life Straw? Well, it's a very, it's a pretty thick-looking plastic straw that has a filter on the end, and you can drink whatever you want. You could put water with soil and poop and dirt and animals, and you will still drink 100% filtered water. It filters out 99.99999% of everything. All the crap in the world goes through this filter, and it's clean, fresh water no matter where you drink it. It was seriously a lifesaver for me. It's not that expensive. My dad got it for like $12. So I think this is the most life-saving product we've ever had. Other than maybe the finger covers for Greece. Although those are
Now, Ori, does it taste like pure? Like, does it taste good? Or
it tastes good.
It's not. Is it like water, like drinkable water? Like it tastes fine, but nothing special. Like on a
no. You know, I like my water, Jack.
On a scale of box water to Fiji, what would you put it?
Well, here we'll go tap water to my water. My water, if you guys don't know, is the pinnacle of all water. Jack will vouch for it. My water in my house is incredible. So
water is crazy good.
It's crazy good. So this filtered water is really close to mine. Like it tastes really, really good. Ooh. I mean, it's nowhere nearly like I enjoy drinking it. I would drink it over tap water any day of the week. So I really do recommend this straw for any hikers, any life riskers, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and do it. And you can do it with this straw.
It seems pretty cool, and useful. Like, I guess there are a lot of situations if you're in nature. You know, you need water. You need a sip. You know. It's just so. Do you put your straw in the creek, or do you just?
Yeah, you put this. Well, you can when you just want to drink, you put the straw in the creek. But what we did is we actually
that's
water, put it in the bottle, and then drink out of the bottle with the straw.
Wow, that's hopefully it really does work, or else you have like an inchworm growing in his stomach.
Hopefully not.
Next time the Bears are playing and losing in the fourth quarter, Sammy, all you have to do is put the life straw up to the TV and sip.
Maybe it'll get him a dub.
Yeah, maybe it'll get me. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing things like I've been doing them because 3-0 is 3-0. So
3-0 is 3-0. That is true.
Prediction of Ori's Amazon product today, or not prediction, I guess evaluation. Give this project or this product. Let's go with. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Now, give it a 7 out of 10 because of its usefulness. Usefulness 10 out of 10. What it does 10 out of 10. However, I think it's not very fun, and that's the only reason why it's a 7. However, I think it's definitely the most life-changing, life-saving product we've ever had on the show. But that will do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. on Chatter from the Cheap Seats. This is your host, Jack Feldman, alongside my co-host, Ori Yachin, alongside my other co-host, Sammy Krimstein, saying, leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
I was going to end it on a plug, but I'm not going to always get in the plug. 202-743-1767. Instagram, TikTok, Chatter_Cheap Seats Pod. YouTube, Chatter from the Cheap Seats. Please, 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 this is the most important thing. Leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Ori, do you have any parting words for our lovely guests?
All right, my only parting words, boys, and I tried it for the first time today. I actually ate it right before the pod. Try some shrimp risotto. It is incredible. Try it, enjoy it. That's all I got.
Big food podcast.
All right. Yeah. So another fun episode, 33rd. We are grinding them out. We are late, but we are still doing it. Better late than never, as we always say. So fun episode. Hope you guys liked it, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.
Yeah, like I was saying beforehand, great episode. And see you guys next time on Chatter from the Cheap Seats. Ori, take us out.
Bye.